Hi friends, welcome to Tech World. I am Shajiv. I hope you are having a good day. In this video, I am going to introduce you to the basic method of installing CCTV camera at your home, office or your residential premises. Here I am going to talk about outdoor installation. There are some things that we have to follow while we are installing a CCTV camera. Here I am going to share you my experience which I had within this 15 years in this field. So there are some things that we have to follow while installing it. The main thing is the positioning of the camera according to the structure of your building. Second thing is the height of the camera where you install the camera. Third thing is the view angle, how you position the angle of the camera to attain the correct image of the object. If you follow all this, then your installation will be perfect. Here I am going to demonstrate all this with the help of a diagram. So let's go to that. Okay friends, I have just drawn a diagram over here, and this square represents the wall of a building which is in a square shape. That means the structure of the building is in a square shape, and this square represents the sunshade around the building. These are the 4 cameras positioned in the corner of the building, and these cameras are positioned in such a way that this camera is in the view, this camera is in the view of this camera, and the same manner this camera is in the view of this camera, and this camera is in the view of this camera, and the same manner this camera is in the view of this camera. That means each camera looks at the other camera. So each camera comes in the frame of other camera. Why we do this type of installation is that if somebody tries to damage or tamper this camera, he will be caught in the frame of this camera. In the same manner, if somebody tries to damage this, he will be caught on this in the frame of this camera. So since each camera is seeing the other camera, if somebody tries to tamper the camera, he will be caught in the frame of one of the camera. Okay, so this you can consider as an ideal installation, but this installation can be never done in all the buildings, because the structure won't be the same like a square or a rectangle. Of the shape of the building won't be in a square shape or a correct rectangle shape, because some buildings could have some extruded walls around here in one side of the building, just like this, maybe in one side or in any other side of the building. So see, this is an extrusion. In the same manner, the sunshade also goes like this. Now if you see, this camera can never see this camera, and the view of this camera is blocked over here, just like this. So there is an invisible area over here and over here. All these places are invisible for this camera, so you have an invisible area. So what we have to do is that we have to add another camera, just like this, over here, and just one just like this over here. So now what happens is that this camera can cover this invisible area. That means it comes under the view of this camera, and the same manner this camera just can have a view up to here. So now there is no invisible area around the building. So in this way you have to position the cameras. The main thing is that you have to see the structure of the building, and then accordingly you have to position the camera to avoid invisible areas. So you have to add the cameras according to the extruded wall around the building. This is the way you have to install a camera. Okay, now sometimes the customer may tell you that he only wants 4 cameras, not more than that, because a DVR can include 4 camera. After 4 it can include 8 cameras. After 8 it will be including 16 cameras. After 16 it will be including 32 cameras. So a basic DVR will be having a 4 channel. That means it can only accommodate 4 cameras. The main problem is that if the customer tells you that he wants only 4 camera, if you have an extruded area like this in the building, then this camera can never see this camera, and you have an invisible space over here. So you have to add 2 more cameras just like this to avoid the invisible area. If the customer tells you that he requires only 4 cameras, you have to inform the customer that there are some invisible areas over here, and he tells that it's okay, it's not a problem, then it's not your responsibility. But if you avoid this, and after installation if the customer tells you that there is an invisible area over here, it's your responsibility that you have never told the customer there will be an invisible area if you only install 4 cameras. So what I am telling you is that always stand at the position of the building, at each position of the building, view the area and just mark how to install the camera. Just mark a position where to install the camera. You have to watch in each corner of the building and just see the view how it looks, and accordingly you have to mark the position of the cameras. Okay, now I am going to tell you about the installation height of the camera. Okay friends, in this diagram I am just going to mention the installation height of the camera as well as the view angle of the camera. Okay, so usually you have to install the camera around 12 to 15 feet height. 12 to 15 feet height, because a person is usually around 6 feet. So you have to double that, that means it's around 12 or 12. You can go up to 15 feet because sometimes the sunshade of the building could be around 15 feet height. So you can fix the camera on the sunshade and just set the angle in such a way that it should cover the face of the person, just the face of the person. If you are installing the camera in such a height that above 12 to 15 feet, that means just like this, this building is around maybe more than 12 to 15 feet, then you have to tilt the camera. Instead of fixing the camera like this, you have to tilt the camera like this to cover the entire area. Okay, so the view angle just goes like this. Now what happens is that this camera can never see the face of the person, only the top head of the person. So it cannot just so that you can't identify the person who is standing in front of the camera. So avoid such a big height, or just install the camera around 12 to 15 feet height. If you are having a long range, then it's okay, you can fix the camera above this height, but yet nearer the person comes near to the building, you cannot see the face of the person, only you can see the head of the person. So you have to position the camera height in such a way that it is around 12 to 15 feet. So you can just correctly identify the face of the person, as well as if a vehicle is approaching, you can see the number plate of the vehicle. But if you position like this, you can never see the number plate of a vehicle. So the better height is always 12 to 15 feet. Okay, so you have to position the camera in such a way. Okay friends, so I have just mentioned you the basic method of installing the camera. Okay friends, in this video I have just mentioned how to install a CCTV camera outdoor. Just the positioning of the camera, the selecting the height, installation height of the camera, as well as positioning the view angle of the camera. See, this differs according to the structure of the building. So you have to develop a skill to find out the positioning of the camera in such a way that there is no invisible area. Okay friends, so I have just mentioned the basic method of installing the camera. Now in the next video I am just going to introduce you the different types of camera, different types of lenses used in the camera, and where to use these cameras. Okay, so now I am just winding up my video. If you like my video, share my video, subscribe my video and comment my video. Okay, I am Shajiv signing off.